Hey guys, Susanna here. How you going? Well, as you can see, I've sort of moved along quite a bit from my little quilt. I actually unpicked this and did it again, and so it's a little bit higher because when I did the other ones it seemed a little smaller, so I had to do that again. So I've done all these, and this is the layout that I'm going to have, and so I thought I would show you how I did this one. So my camera is just off to the side here, so when I go out of the picture I'll still talk, but not my camera, my sewing machine is a bit off to the side, so I will still yap, but I'll just do the sewing. Yeah, I can't get it in camera. I'm not that tech savvy as some of these. Also, a disclaimer: I'm not to profess to say that I am the world's best quilter. There's plenty of awesome channels out there that have really great tutorials and are professional in what they do, like Laurie Holt or Blake Riley, or even the fabric, the Fat Quarter Shop. They you know, they got someone that you can actually see them and they do everything really professional. This is just my way of doing it. They would probably be horrified to see it how I cut some of this stuff up. In the last video too, I said this needs to be 4.5 by 4.5. If you're cutting one of these, that needs to be 4 by 4 so that you can get the template. The actual finishing size is 4.5 by 4.5. So if you're haven't got stitcheries and you just want to find a gorgeous bit of fabric that you know you've found and want to put on there, like, you know, you find a little design, cut that out 4.5 by 4.5. So whereas if you want to center it, you can do that and then cut 1/4 inch all the way around. So I said that in the last one. So I'm going to I ended up not using the red that I cut up in the last one around this one, because I tried to get sort of a busier pattern with a more plainer pattern on each of them, and I just thought 2 of the same pattern with different colour, I'll just match it up this way. So I love these colours too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it along there like that, so those little bits are sticking out like that. Now if you want, I'll use my new pin cushion since I've got it. I gave that other one away to a friend, so I thought it was the point of having 2. So I'll match these up here like that. So the first bit has got these little bits hanging out the side, which is good, but the second bit it doesn't, which leads me to believe it probably needs to be a tad bigger because it only just ends up there, but you know, it works for me. So I've got my little ironing board on, so I'm just going to sew. Okay. And you sew in 1/4 inch, and you don't do back and forward. So see my hand every now and again. Try and do it as fast as I can so that I'm in there with you. Okay. Then that's one side done, and I'll do the other. New pin. So I know this is a little awkward, but I figured rather than turning off the screen, I'll just, you know, because it's right here now, so I can come in. So what we do, we get the ironing board. I usually you always iron towards the darker side, they say, but I always iron out. Okay. And then I get these little bits, and I just cut them off. Cut them the same size. So that's why I don't go back and forth because you end up like this next bit is going to be sewn over the top of that, so you really don't need to be pinning it. So you line it up, get the pin. How good does that look with the green? So pretty. Okay. Little bits hanging out there. The first one is really easy. It's the second one that tends to be, you really got to fiddle to get it right. So I'll just quickly sew those. Okay. So you can sew it in by 1/4 of an inch, which is usually a line on your machine. Show you where that is, or you can get a 1/4 inch foot. I've got one of them, but probably if I'm going to do like a really big quilt, I'd get that one out. Okay, here we go again. Again, I think that's from an old tablecloth, so I've used sort of a combination of new and old fabrics. We've got to iron it down first and iron it flat. Then so that they don't always end up straight, but I'm not the world's most precise quilter. As long as it looks good in the end, that's all I'm worried about. There we go. Okay, now iron that down flat. Love this little iron. It's so cute. Now, as you can see, it ends up being like that, so it's sort of on a diamond end. So what you do is you get your piece, and this is what I mean, like this one, it just reaches. I don't know what is the back and what's the front of this fabric. I think that might be the front, I don't know. So I do 6 1/2, so maybe if you did 6 3/4, it might give you a little bit of leeway, but it all works out, like the joins work out. So I put it on that way. So I'm saying this is a bit more trickier. And then put it that way, but then I sew this way. So give it a pin here and pin here. And the reason why I do it this way is because you've got this line and you want to know that you're going to get over that bit, because that's where all those little joins are. See those little joins? So I sew 1/4 of an inch, and that usually will take you just right before that little line there. So I'll show you one. See what I mean? Like I've sewn and it's just a little bit above that. So once again, and you sew along there like that. Give it an iron, and it comes out like that. Whoop. Sometimes when it's a different, like, because this different type of fabric, you're not using the same fabric, it doesn't, sometimes doesn't always line up. So one on the other, and it does look like that, and you go, oh, it's not fitting, but it does. But I think if you had 6 3/4 square, it probably would fit a little better, because that just fits, whereas the other one where it was hanging over is probably more precise way of doing it. Now, what's the front and what's the back? I have no idea. Okay. Line that up. Okay. And I haven't finished doing all the stitching either. But I did do this, isn't it turned out gorgeous? I love it. So I just did a stem stitch around there, and it's quite, it comes out thicker, and then just a, I was going to do it in the different colours, but I thought no, I'll just keep it, because if I had to change the colours it'd do your head in. And then I just did a straight stitch around the inside, stem stitch here, highlighted it straight, and I haven't done these yet. I'm just umming and ahhing because it's such thick thread, the blue, but I still may do those yet. Okay, see how we go. So how are we all going? Hope you're all doing well. Some of the restrictions are coming down in Victoria, as I noticed in England, they're going back into lockdown again. Oh, don't know whether you're coming or going. Oh, back again. Don't move on me, yeah, because it's different fabric. It's a bit moved on me. Okay. Moved up on the last bit. Oh well. Now, we'll do this other bit. Get that again. And just have it going like this. Not sure what's the front and what's the back, no idea. Okay, pin that down. Whew. Got the heater on, I think I need to turn it off. That with that and the iron and menopause, you get rather warm. Okay, now I'll just quickly sew this, see how this comes out. When you sew it, you sew from there all the way down to there. But chop some of these little bits off, long bits. Okay. Now for the, cross your fingers that it turns out okay. Look at that, see? It works! Doesn't feel like it works, but it does work. The join's okay. So this little bit, you just cut that off. And cut this little bit off as well. And then, because what you've got to remember, I'm going to have a border around the edge as well. Because they're going to be sewn together, and then I'm going to have a border around the edge. So I'll quickly sew this little piece on, and then I'll show you how we put these bits together and how they look. So I might even give it a pause. I'll put that on and I'll sew this bit together just to see how I go, and then I'll show you how I sew it together. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, I'm back again. Oh, crossed our fingers and it actually went okay. So see, it's not perfect, but you know, by the time I do quilting and all that kind of stuff on there, I'm not like perfect stitching. You know, I'm sort of, see, this is a bit crooked because the fabric, see, once again, it's a tablecloth, so I might straighten it up a little because it is really bad when it comes to this. I might. Did that again one other time, and not a good idea. I keep forgetting I've got to pull it back. Make sure it's tight. There we go. Oh, the joys of watching Susanna. Okay, I'm just going to straighten that up a tad. There. Yeah, this it's the only thing, when you're using all cotton it will sit a little bit better, but then all of this other stuff, it stretches, and that's the annoying part of using vintage fabrics. It doesn't always sit straight, not even that. Just a little bit off. There we go. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put those two together because that's going to go on top. So you do join the three together that you've done, and the way to get it properly is I'm going to put those little bits in together like that, put that down like that. You may have to stretch, and I'd say you probably do have to cut that last one 6 3/4 just to give you that little bit of extra room. This is my attempt at doing it, so you sort of stretch it to fit, because look how close that is, you know, and you're not going to get that perfect point. So I do a quarter of an inch. So what's a half of a quarter of an inch? I'm going to sew that along there. Be a bit slower with this one because you want it to match up. See, it's going over the top on that. I'm going to lose that point, which is annoying. So, well. One of these quilts that's only going to be hanging out one part of the year, near Christmas. And it's because I've done my own pattern and not followed somebody else's. So that's what I'm saying. If you want to do something perfect, there's heaps of other channels. Oh, that's not good. Hang a minute. I might have to do that again. We'll see how I go when we iron it. Now with these, I iron them open, but it is a little hard, so I might just iron it to one side. I did iron this one open, but it just doesn't seem big enough. and it is quite fiddly, especially in the middle. So I'll just iron it over the one side, I think. The secret of that actually is if you iron one to one side, one to the other, when you put them together, one will be one way and one will be the other, and it'll be easier to sew. So since I've ironed that one that way, I should iron this one towards this way. That way it'll fit a little better when we put them together. Yeah, see some bits I've just caught it. My motto, fake it till you make it. Not always the best way. Okay. Oh. There we go. Now, see, when I do this sort of stuff, I remember, you know, like, oh, now I know why I haven't been doing quilting for a while. You know, when if you're a perfectionist and things don't line up, it does sometimes does your head in. Now, how does that look? See how that hasn't lined up, but then we make another little pattern here which I really like. So what we're going to do here, and this is what I mean. Ugh. Iron one way. Well, I'll have to iron this one that way then, which probably works out better because it's to the darker fabric. They reckon always iron to the darker side. Okay, now, so that when you're doing that, one is that way and one is the other way, so you get those. And then they lock in. Match up those ones as well. These little guys. Forgot to cut that off. Makes a difference when you do that. Okay. Lock them in so it is done like that. Yes, I think definitely. See, if I had have cut that last one, worked 5.5 worked really well for here because it left a little bit of the edge. So I think probably 6.5 for that last block may not be the right size. So I'll have to. I think 6 3/4 might be a bit better size, just so it hangs over the bit a little bit. So there you go. I mean, I have got a bit of quilting experience, so you can make it work. But when you're a novice, so and even then, you know, seems to be being a bit of a pain. Okay, there we go. And I might pause that because it might take a little bit of a while to make sure to wiggle that in, and I'll just pause. Hang ten. Okay, well, I managed to get it on there, and what I did, see, it's creating a new pattern, which is what I really like. And once again, it didn't match up there, didn't match up there, matched up there, but I'm not too worried about that at this point. There's nothing I can do about it because I got the wrong size. So, and when you do your quilting and everything like that, I think you can. Once I do the quilting, and I'm going to do hand quilting because it's only going to be a smallish quilt. It's turned out bigger than what I thought. So I'm going to sew these two pieces together and then sew that onto there. And then I've got, I'm umming and ahhing whether I use this or not, because this is it's got green and red in there. And then I was going to use, where's that blue? I think it's here somewhere. Here we go. I was going to use it as a border, but hang a minute, I'll come back. Okay, back again. I was going to use that on the edge as well. So have a border that wide, because they're already there. It's from a jelly roll, and then make that into, because I've got this one in the green and in the red, so I wanted to utilize that. I'll make a border, so I'll cut strips from this and make that into the bias for the corner. I think maybe I might use that, because I think this one's a little busy. So, and this is already pre-cut, so that sounds good to me. Okay, so I'll just sew that together, and I will be back when that's been sewn together. Okay, back again. Now it's all together, and these bits aren't too bad, but what I might do is, to cover up these, I might get some, I've got some here, hide a multitude of sins by adding buttons. So on the joins, especially that one, that's a shocker, I'm going to add some buttons, so that will help that. And then I'll probably do one in between there. I've got some red buttons in this style as well, so it's turned out rather big. So yep, I'm rather happy with how that looks. And then it's going to have, I'm going to put, because I've got these bits, I'm going to put that along there for the border, and then I'll use this. I'm going to cut a couple of, hopefully that'll be enough to do the piece on the outside. If not, I do have some other of this as well. So that's a real good find on eBay, that one. So there you go. Well, I'll quickly show you the blocks, and I've still got to, I've stitched that one and I've stitched that one, but I haven't stitched the other one. I think they look really good. I think it looks so cute. So I thought, well, since I've cut them and everything like that, and I can stitch them while I'm holding this bit, so I might even just do the stitching first and then come back and put this on and do that. So there you go. Isn't it adorable? It's so cute. Love it, real country style. And then having that little bit of width makes that a little bit wider. How wide did it turn out? Measuring tape. The finished bit. It's about 16 that way and 25 that way, and then by the time you add on an extra bit, well, that's going to have a quarter in it. That's a 2.5, so 16. They'll end up 2 inches, so 17, 18, 19, 20, so 20, and then that's doubled, so it's maybe 20 by 30, so it's actually a decent size one. But I'm replacing, what I do is I replace some of my stuff for Christmas, like I've got and then put it back up once Christmas is gone. So, but I love it that it looks Christmassy, but it's still very sort of, you know, retro-y looking, which is what I wanted, the sort of retro-y colours. Okay guys, thank you very much. I hope you have enjoyed this. Yeah, so like I said, I'm not the perfect sewer, so but there's always ways of covering up. You can even probably put a yo-yo that would give it a maybe a yo-yo in the middle and some buttons there. Oh, that's nice. So yeah, so when it comes to, I'll finish doing the stitchery on all of them. I'll have this sewn, and then I'll come back when it comes time to do the quilting and maybe making yo-yos and embellishing. So it may be a little while because I've still got 4 stitcheries to do. So yeah, but I want to get it done before Christmas. So okay guys, I will catch you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.